Hello everyone, Angel here, and today we're going to be doing the final tutorial mission, which is in the assault gunboat. This mission is one of the first, which is pretty much brand new. It's very loosely based on the first assault gunboat training mission, where you basically have to shoot down a minefield. So I kind of kept that element in the mission, but other than that, it's completely different. And the point of this mission was to combine all your previous training mission exercises and to learn things about hyperspace, shields, energy management, countermeasures, and that sort of stuff.
You now have to balance the energy between your cannons, shields, and...
So the assault gunboat is definitely my second least favourite craft to fly. After the Tide Bomber. It's slow, it's not very manoeuvrable. The only thing it's got going for it obviously is it's fairly tanky with its shields, but because it's so slow, it makes it a fairly easy target to get hit with.
You will fly the assault gunboat designated...
In early beta testing of TFTC, I decided to buff the assault gunboat. It's the only starfighter we really buffed compared to the others. Basically gave it a bit more maneuverability, nothing too much, just a little bit, and then increased its laser recharge and decharge rates, so it actually charges its lasers and ions faster than any of the other starfighters, but this is just because it takes so long to charge its shields up, and yeah, we just wanted to make the ship slightly fun to fly, as opposed to just completely unfun to fly. So it's not as bad as it was, I'd say.
Unarmed rebel outpost. They are armed with a single omnidirectional laser cannon that can be destroyed with a single shot. Once these mines are eliminated, however, rebel reinforcements will arrive in the form of a heavy...
You may also notice we have Arquitron's light cruisers this time. These are one of the new ships we added into TFTC Reimagined. This is obviously first shown up in Star Wars Rebels, I think. I do quite like this little design. It's like a mini destroyer.
Learn how to operate a deflector shield system, deal with advanced energy management, and how to counter enemy missiles, whilst combining your skills learned from the previous training exercises. You will begin by destroying a minefield which is protecting a small rebel outpost. You will disable any craft that attempts to flee from this outpost for capture, so we can interrogate any prisoners on board. However,
so this is where the mission really gets different, and it basically turns into a proper fight between two capital ships and their complements of starfighters. So I really wanted to give the player a proper battle this time, not just here's a bunch of targets, please shoot at them. And I think it's a nice way to end the tutorial missions and give the player lots of different options for what we want to do. They can either engage the fighters, engage the capital ship, be forced to engage in defensive maneuvers against missiles, all that good stuff. And yes, the Liberty. I thought it appropriate we just use a more famous capital ship in this training scenario, as if the Imperial's like, yes, one day you'll get to destroy this infamous cruiser for real. So this is a Star Destroyer hangar. I really like it. Unfortunately, my system isn't very good at showing this hangar when you fly out fly out of the hangar for the first time. There's so many ships and other little models in here that it really does tank the frame rate, which is a shame, but hopefully there should be some, well, let's hope so, some progress in performance in the longer future.
Okay, new one.
But yeah, lovely work there.
First, we need to get you where you...
So yeah, the very first thing I thought of was we need to teach people how to use hyperspace, because hyperspace wasn't in TIE Fighter. Well, it was, but it was an automatic thing. If you used a hyperdrive capable ship, when you launched the mission, it would automatically just hyperspace you in, and when you finished the mission, you pressed H and you just hyperspaced out. There was no docking hangars, there wasn't actual different regions. X-Wing Alliance added being able to jump to different regions like this. And so, because jumping to regions is a common thing now, I had to make sure players knew how to target a hyperbuoy, how to get close to it, and then jump into hyperspace. Pretty simple, but a pretty critical point of gameplay. Pretty useful for Classic as well, because to emulate that hyperspace effect, we basically put the player in a starting region right on top of the hyperbuoy so they can just instantly hyperspace in. But they do need to know how to do that. got to say, I really do like the gunboat's cockpit design. Obviously you have a much wider field of view than you do with the TIE Fighter, especially if you're using head tracking or VR. You've got a nice side view you can look out. But yeah, nicely detailed cockpit design there. So yeah, mines. Everybody loves mines. I think they were probably a bit worse than the original TIE Fighter. I find mines fairly easy to deal with in X-Wing Alliance.
Transport Omega is launching now to capture the outpost.
Except when, of course, you're dealing with the concussion missile mines. That can get a bit annoying to deal with when they start spamming out missiles when you destroy them. So yeah, you can hear the old TIE Fighter sound effects there when the laser hits the shield. And that's a new addition to 1.2. We added some classic sound effects so the shield hits on your hull as well. Incoming missile sound effects, targeting sound effects. I've had more than one comment saying when I showed them the new shield impacts, it's like, yep, that gives me PTSD hearing that sound effect.
The mines have been eliminated.
But I do like it. It's a much more noticeable sound effect that you're being hit by shields. I think the X-Wing Alliance default shield impact hit wasn't that noticeable.
Engines if needed.
And yes, we're teaching you how to disable craft, which happens a lot during the campaigns. So yeah, that's how you disable craft, carrying rebels or other people of interest or cargo.
Transport is disabled. Ion cannons do not damage a ship's hull, but will impact its shields. Without shields, you can then use them to disable any craft. When a craft...
So you might notice that's an Imperial 2 class Star Destroyer, not an Imperial 1 class. The original TIE Fighter doesn't have the Imperial 2 class. Just the Imperial, the first version. Not that you'd even notice with the original model because it wasn't that detailed. But yeah, I liked using the Imperial 2 class quite a bit in Reimagined, particularly going forward in the later campaigns, which I'm still designing. So yeah, here we go. We've got A-Wings coming in, and I felt it important that we really teach the player how to recognise when you're being shot at with a missile and how to deal with a missile. And there's lots of ways to deal with a missile. You can evade them just by doing hard turns, you can shoot them down, you can use your countermeasures. You can even use the station or another ship to intercept the missile, though I don't actually cover that in the mission itself. But yeah, that is another possible tactic you can use. There's one thing I hated dealing with in Classic, the original game. It's A-Wings in an assault gunboat. Because A-Wings, yeah. Fuck A-Wings. So, yeah, shoot them while you can when they're coming in head-on, and you can usually get enough. And here comes the Liberty with 2 corvettes. This is actually a little bit of a homage to the Squadron's game mode where you have to take down a capital ship. They usually have 2 frigates or cruisers escorting them, so kind of just a little nod to that game. Even if it wasn't a great game, just like a nice little nod here.
Wingman commands as needed to direct them.
Oh yes, and another thing that is obviously new to X-Wing Alliance but not to original TIE Fighter was you can link your lasers and ion cannons together. This actually doubles your firepower, which is very useful.
You may have reinforcements on standby. Use Shift S to call for them, then space to confirm.
Yeah, I didn't want to just fly into a nest of rebel ships, so join up with my buddies here and we'll all go in together. And it makes it just a lot more impressive to look at when the furball starts, and here we go.
I'm having trouble over here. This is 3, responding to your distress call.
Ow.
I've got a starship firing at me.
So you see what I mean? Even though I'm trying to sort of spin and evade, they're still managing to hit me. I mean, I think it's veteran AI level. It's not too much, too bad. But still, it's hard to avoid incoming fire if you're not careful with a gunboat. And again. Very easy to be caught unawares if you're not paying attention.
This is 2. I'm hit.
But yeah, as I said at the start of this is a lot more intense than the other training missions. We've got a lot more going on. We've got a lot of friendlies, a lot of fire. It's a lot more spectacle. And it's sort of really showing now what we can do with the engine. What kind of battles you can expect to have once things get going.
This is 3.
And it still looks gorgeous. Yeah, who needs concussion missiles on fighters when you can use them on corvettes? They don't do a huge amount of damage, but it still helps. And this is where linking your lasers and ions can come in handy. That burst of firepower can really help you do some nice damage to smaller capitals like corvettes. There we go.
You have destroyed a friendly craft.
And I killed a friendly. Probably from explosion splash damage. That would happen a lot, unfortunately. If your friendlies are too close, they will get killed or damaged by the explosion, which counts as friendly fire. Even if you didn't actually directly hit them, because you were the one who landed the killing blow, the explosion splash damage is attributed to your attack, and therefore you caused the friendly fire. So I made sure this wasn't too hard. I think with version 1.0 this was harder, a lot harder, because there were too many A-Wings engaging you. People found it hard to actually deal with the A-Wings. They kept dying all the time. So I shifted things about. I had the A-Wing, a couple of A-Wings come in before the Liberty comes in, so it gives you a chance to actually deal with and learn about missiles better, and then just a couple more where A-Wings engage you, and then it's just the normal furball from there. Yeah, nice big wave of torpedoes. And this is another advantage of X-Wing Alliance in terms of capital ships defending themselves from torpedoes. If you give a starship a protect order, it will actively attack any incoming enemy warhead regardless of whether it's attacking you or not. So if you have bombers going for a major capital ship, if you surround it with frigates or other smaller ships and order them to protect, they will use their lasers to try and protect that ship, and in a crossfire of lasers. So it's a nice sort of screening effect and gives more usefulness to support ships like corvettes and frigates. Just like it should be. So I think the Liberty's been stripped of most of its fighters at this point. Just a few B-Wings left. And a corvette, apparently.
K1, attacking craft, dead ahead. This is 3. I'm heavily damaged.
I don't know if you're noticing, but you can see I just dumped all my energy into shields there, and you can see the lasers are recharging faster than they normally would in other craft, as I mentioned before. It's about 15 to 20 seconds to recharge in the gunboat, whereas normally it's 30 seconds in the other craft, from a empty charge to a full charge. Ow, that hurts. Sometimes I just keep going until I've hopefully disabled the ship, including possibly my own death, but it worked out in this case. Ship's disabled, now it's just a turkey shoot. And there we go. Goodbye, Liberty.
The enemy cruiser.
And look at all that lovely new debris.
Well done. You may now return to the Star Destroyer Implacable's hangar.
So yeah, that basically concludes the tutorial missions. I'm pretty happy with them. I think it does a good job overall of bringing old players up to speed and teaching new players the basic mechanics. It doesn't teach you absolutely everything, but it's enough to sort of get to grips with the game and all the various things that might be thrown at you. And the reason I sort of make players play this before the campaign starts proper is because I think it's necessary. Some people might be just eager to get into the campaign, I understand that, but I think it's more important to at least have this tutorial just go through. It's fairly simple to get through most of these tutorials within an hour, if you're lucky and you're good at it. Just need to change the lens flare here. You might notice the lens flare was a bit harder looking. If you turn lens flare off in the game, you can see the lens flare looks nice and soft now. I don't know why, but apparently the game overrides the XWAU version of the lens flare if it's turned on. So there you go. And back into the Lagfest Imperial hangar.
Excellent work. You have now successfully completed the basic training program of the Imperial Navy. You have now learned all the essential skills for piloting any of the Empire's starfighter craft and are now ready for official deployment. You will be transferred to the Javan sector to begin your first assignment shortly.
Okay, so tutorial's done. Next time we'll be going on our first assignment, where we will be inspecting some craft at Outpost D34. Until then, I'll see you all you lovely people next time, and good hunting.